Hello everybody, it's Philly Kuts with another comic book haul. We are up to number 55, year 2, for those of you keeping count. You know, every week I come here, I got my stack of comics, and I just talk about what I got, you know, no big whoop. So this week, DC, lots of annuals came out this week. I picked up 3 of them. And I gotta say, you know, $5 price tag, but they're all clocking in at 48 pages. Good job, DC. A lot better than a couple weeks ago when you released that issue of Batman, bumping the price up to $5 and only putting in 40 pages, most of which were adverts on those added pages. So kudos. Kudos to admit when you're wrong, Jim Lee, and canceling the Omega Men, but bringing it back. Kudos. Alright, let's start with Green Lantern, number 4, Tales of Hal Jordan. This is a pretty good annual. If you were wondering what happened to Hal Jordan between the time when he stole Krona's gauntlets from the Green Lantern Corps to now, present day, Rogue Green Lantern. We know we have the Rogue story arc where Green Lantern is on his own. He's the sole Green Lantern in all of the universe because all the other Green Lanterns, the Green Lantern Corps, has been teleported to another universe in another time. If you want to find out more about that, because I'm kind of tired of talking about it, check out Green Lantern Lost Army, written by Cullen Bunn. So, check that out. The artwork in this, I got some issues with the artwork. There are some scenes that look very nice. Let's start with that. Pascal Alexi, and Martin Cocolio. I believe Alexi is the main artist. He does draw some really nice scenes, and we do get to see the power of Krona's gauntlets in this, and it is a mighty, mighty weapon. As you know, Hal Jordan doesn't have his ring anymore. That's one of the consequences of him having this Krona's gauntlet. But the Krona's gauntlet is very, very powerful, and it really tests all of Hal Jordan's will. The catch is that he does not have complete control over this weapon as he does with his ring. So it's a definite challenge for him. He creates a construct of himself, a giant version of himself, as you can see, when he battles the other Green Lanterns, and he seriously kicks some ass. The story device that they're using to tell this story is a present-day Hal Jordan with his new crew. He's actually telling Trapper, one of the people that he has befriended, and I forget the other guy's name. Trapper and Virgo. He's kind of sitting down telling them the story. But on the negative side, Alexi just draws Hal Jordan looking very differently from panel to panel. I mean, I don't know what is up with Hal Jordan's look there. I mean, we know he has new hair. He looks like something out of Revenge of the Nerds there in that panel. Then he's kind of like looking like some kind of surf in the next panel. Not a surf, but like, I don't know, like a medieval like prince in that panel. Then I don't know what he's looking like, Tom Cruise from Legend in that panel. And then, I don't know, he's looking like like Miss Jenner in the other panel. So I don't know. I don't know what the heck is going on with him in this. He just looks all sorts of fucked up, okay? It's just very inconsistent panel to panel. I mean, I'm willing to overlook it, but it is ridiculous. There's Trapper and Virgo. Those are the 2 people that are now part of Hal Jordan's crew under the Rogue arc. But check it out if you're curious to find out what happened in between that time. It doesn't advance any of the story of the current arc involving the Black Hand, but it does give some great background information. Whew! Alright. Batman Annual number 4, also coming in at 48 pages. This book is going to explore Bruce Wayne. It's back to Bruce Wayne. As we all know, if you've been reading the book, Bruce Wayne has lost his memory. He has no former recollection of his former life as Batman. So there are some interesting questions raised in this. In particular, some of the struggles that Alfred is going through in this. Alfred, if you've been reading the story arc, the Endgame story arc, actually ended up losing his hand in all of this. But Alfred is pleasantly pleased, or at least torn at the worst, pleasantly pleased in the fact that he gets to see Bruce Wayne as what he calls the truest version of Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne has no recollection of all the trauma that he's been through, you know, of his parents being murdered by criminals, and of being Batman and all the pain and the anguish that comes with that. However, Alfred's a bit torn as to whether or not he should, you know, fill Bruce Wayne in on the story. So, literally, Bruce Wayne makes a trip back to Wayne Manor. There you go. There's the gates there. Nice stormy night. Wayne Manor has been used as a holding station for Arkham Asylum because Arkham Asylum has been destroyed. So, there's a nice panel of the current Batman, Mecha Batman. Commissioner Gordon inhabits that suit. He is the current Batman. But some of the enemies that were here being harbored in Wayne Manor were none other than Clayface, Mr. Freeze, and the Riddler is in here somewhere. Long story short, there's the trio, the villainous posse. Long story short, Clayface somehow makes duplicates of everyone, and I don't know how they got out of their cells to begin with, but he makes duplicates. They get out somehow, one way or another. They're pissed off at Bruce Wayne because of all the help that Bruce Wayne has given Batman. What they think, you know, they don't know Bruce Wayne is Batman, so they're pissed off at Bruce Wayne for supplying Batman with weapons and stuff. So they want to get back at Bruce Wayne and kind of torture him, and it just kind of shows, you know, hey, how are Bruce Wayne's reflexes? How is Bruce Wayne's mind without knowing that he was once Batman? How's that going to work? And you do get Alfred coming to his rescue. Notice that stumpy right hand. Like I said, he is missing his right hand. And God, doesn't Mr. Freeze is like looking like Abe Sapien. So fucking weird. I was looking at that and I was expecting to see like the web hand of Abe Sapien. So lots of interesting stuff and interesting themes presented in here. I'm really looking forward to reading this, and maybe you will too if you're a Batman fan. Alright, another Batman annual title. This is the title that I'm severely behind on. This is part of my backlog. But it's got such a cool cover. Arkham Knight, first annual ever. And he does battle with the Scarecrow. And that is just such a cool cover with October right around the corner. I don't know, is DC going to be doing the Monster of the Month variant covers next month? I don't know. What's this coming, you know, October's theme of variant covers going to be for DC? Because I remember last year they had such tremendous covers. Anyway, Arkham Knight. I'm not going to tell you who Arkham Knight really is in case you haven't, you know, read this book. But Arkham Knight does battle with the Scarecrow in this. And there are some very unusual twists and turns in this story. You know, he gets infected with that toxin that Scarecrow loves to use that makes people psychotic and crazy. Some foes of the past come to bear. Joker, you know, he's always the fallback guy. Every time it's the Joker. They really have been using him a lot, you know, New 52 and Post 52. But lots of cool stuff, cool themes going on in here. Cool psychedelia, multi-mouths. There's a cool panel in here with all different Batman lined up to take on Arkham Knight, which is a great, great panel. I don't know if my camera's going to make it out, but there are just tons of different Batman. There's the current Batman on your far right in the middle. It's Commissioner Gordon, actually. So pretty cool stuff. But like I said, I'm way behind on this. I'm like 4 or 5 issues behind on that, so I'm not even going to pretend to know what's going on. But it seems like that's going to be really a one-shot. All right, now, this is like a big story, kind of. I don't know, maybe. It might be. Cullen Bunn, Aquaman. I love this cover, man. This cover is awesome. Mera and Aquaman. But looks can be deceiving. I'm going to give some major spoilers in this issue, because I have to, in order to really talk about it. But, you know, first, let's just start out with the artwork. I'm having, you know, major problems with the direction that this series has gone with the artwork. Trevor McCarthy, he did the cover here of this, which looks nice. He's been doing the past couple issues, I believe. In this issue, they have a stand-in artist, Alec Morgan, and it's just bad. I just do not like the artwork in here. Aquaman looks like a total freaking schlep, alright? Look at him. Look at, I don't know what happened to his face. Mera looks all sorts of fucked up. And the other thing is, look at all these bubbles. And I know they're underwater, but that's all that you see. Panel after panel. There's like no detail in anything. And that was a problem that I had with, you know, McCarthy's work too, was that a lot of the backgrounds and everything have just been blurred out and no detail. And in this one, he just is doing bubbles and bubbles and bubbles and different kinds of bubbles over and over again. And that's like every freaking panel. Here's some bubbles that are a little bit bigger. Check out those bubbles. There's like a naked Aquaman too there, but it's just, I don't know, it's just, I feel like it's gotten lazy. It's gotten super lazy, the artwork. And actually, in a lot of DC titles as of late, they seem to be doing that. You know, in Catwoman, there's a lot of background panels like that. I even felt in Detective Comics, they were starting to just do a lot of lazy work like that. So, I don't know if it's the pressure of the deadlines or what. But Aquaman, you know, what originally attracted me to the series was the artwork of Ivan Reis, Paul Pelletier. Awesome, amazing artwork, and every time Aquaman went underwater, you had these big, wonderful scenes of coral reefs and different kinds of animals and sea life, and just as of late, it's just been total shit. Now, let's get to the other problem. The story, okay? Aquaman and Mera have been like one of the strongest couples in the DC universe, at least during New 52, with the stuff that I've been reading. So the fact that Mera, you know, is on the hunt for Aquaman, unless there's some kind of future twist coming, I don't get it. Okay, basically the storyline that's going on now is that there's this shadow city from like another dimension that is starting to grow and pop up, and it's taking over, you know, parts of Atlantis, or it's threatening to take over parts of Atlantis. And Aquaman has decided to defend some of the innocent casualties of this shadow city. And that's really pissed off Mera. You know, Mera is, you know, loves the Atlanteans to the core, which is kind of strange in a way because she's a Zebel, which is like this faction of Atlanteans that resides in like the Bermuda Triangle. They're like this rebel group, this outcast group. So it just doesn't make sense to me, because all throughout the series, you know, that Jeff Johns has created, and then I can't remember who the next writer was after that, but they really created a strong bond between Aquaman and Mera. And then along comes Cullen Bunn, who normally I'm a pretty big fan. I like Cullen Bunn. I love his work on Harrow County. I love his work on Sinestro. It's one of my favorite books. Along comes Cullen Bunn, and this is the storyline. You know, it's still, you know, Aquaman as the outcast, which has been, you know, beaten to death. That storyline has been beaten to death, and just making Mera the enemy. So anyway, Aquaman teleports back to Mara's chamber, okay? Here she is sleeping. He teleports into her chamber to have a talk. They end up talking. They reconcile. It ends up getting hot and heavy, folks. They get it on, all right? They full-fledged have sex. Pretty hot and heavy, right? Pretty suggestive stuff in here for a teen book, nonetheless. Like I said, Aquaman naked there. So here's the big reveal, okay? Here's the spoiler. It turns out that it was not Mara, but it was her sister. It was her sister, who is, oh my God, I can't remember her name. It was her sister, Siren. Siren. It was Siren. So Aquaman did not have sex with Mara. He was deceived. He was tricked. He was, in effect, raped. He was raped. He was raped by Siren. Raped by deception. He was consenting to have sex with Mara, not Siren. So, oh my God, I can only see Anita Sarkeesian twirling over in her grave. This Cullen Bunn has used the infamous woman as demon seductress trope, right? And this is not the first time that Cullen Bunn has used this. As recently as Lobo #9, he did a similar thing, where Lobo was actually raped. I have to look here. He was actually tied down with these mechanical spiders, down on a bed, strapped down, helpless, and the character Countess Fabry Odessa straddles him and then, you know, rapes him, has his way with him. And then kind of the sequence happened really quick. And then later on, Lobo is like joking around about it, like it's no big deal. And I guess Cullen Bunn is taking, you know, quite a hit about it. And, you know, there's already stories popping up about this. So I don't know what's up with it. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not really outraged by it. Maybe because it's a double standard. I don't know, maybe if it was another way around, like maybe if Aquaman, you know, was deceiving Mara, and it turned out it wasn't Aquaman, and she ended up having sex, getting raped by someone else, that maybe it would have been a bigger story. What if it wasn't, you know, how about this for a risky storyline? How about, you know, Aquaman did it with who he thought was Mara, and it turns out to be, you know, like Aquaman's brother or something, you know, like, or like a male or something, you know, how about that? You know, that's like a bit more risque, you know? So, I mean, I'm just, you know, it just seems like it's kind of lazy story writing, if you ask me. Now, I don't know if that's because Cullen Bunn is just, you know, under the gun. I mean, the guy, as of late, has been all over the place. You know, if you follow DC, he's been writing a ton of books. I mean, he's been writing Aquaman now. He's doing Green Lantern Lost Army. He's doing Lobo. He's doing Sinestro. Out in Marvel, he's doing, Magneto. He was doing Hellbreak for another comic, I think, Omni. And then he's doing Harrow County for Dark Horse. So, I mean, I don't know how many of these he's writing, you know, concurrently, but it just seems like the dude's been all over the place. He's been getting a lot of work. So maybe, you know, to save some time, he's kind of recycling similar story devices. You know, it kind of makes sense to me, but I don't really like where this whole Aquaman thing is going, and this current arc has just been pretty shitty. And I'm just disappointed because I am a big Cullen Bunn fan, and just lazy storytelling, man. That's all I'm gonna say about it. So I thought I would let you guys know. Let me know what you think. Let me even know if you think maybe, I don't know if this is too deep or too sensitive a topic, but do you think that that's what happened when that Aquaman was raped? Because some people might not even consider that a rape. I don't know. I mean, I do. I think it was, you know, rape by deception. All right. Speaking of deception, Superman, Clark Kent, The Truth. This is the final book of the Truth story arc, or before the Truth story arc. Last issue, Lois Lane revealed to the world via her social media that Clark Kent is in fact Superman. Now this is the fallout of that. So what essentially has happened is that enemies out of the woodwork, and might I say these are like B, C list enemies, maybe even farther down. You have a revamped Royal Flush gang, of all people, come out of the woodwork to, beat up on Clark Kent, a.k.a. Superman. He dispatches them, and then there's like this other group of villains. I had to write it down. It's a hodgepodge of villains. I don't even know where they came up with this. Of Livewire, Atomic Skull, Shockwave, Killer Frost, and Croc. So, like, what a motley crew that writer Gene Yang, has assembled. It just doesn't, seem to make sense. I mean, you think that maybe more of the heavy hitters would have come out of the woodwork upon finding this out, but I don't know. Maybe the heavy hitters were waiting for these guys to kind of soften Superman up. And as you can see, Clark Kent, Superman, whatever you want to call him, although he's, missing a lot of his powers, he still gets down and gets busy and fucks people up. Interestingly, a former employee of the Globe, the Daily Planet, where Superman Clark Kent is a reporter, as we all know, seeks some revenge on Clark because he got fired. No, what happened here? No, his wife ended up getting killed. His wife ended up getting killed shortly after the Superman reveal. So he's pissed. He's out for revenge. They don't really develop it too much. It's very, very quick. He starts firing at Superman. He has some kind of gun. And it ends up... He opens fire. He basically ends up with one of these bullets. He hits the editor of the Daily Planet. And thus and so, Superman learns very quickly of the consequences of, trying to keep his whole Clark Kent Superman thing a secret. And this ends up getting him fired from the Daily Planet. And lo and behold, Superman has to go on the run. He issues a stern warning to all the villains. He says, hey, don't mess with me. If you mess with me or if you mess with anyone I love, if you mess with my friends, I'm going to give it back to you 1,000 times fold. And then he just takes off and runs. And I don't know. It's just, this too is another story that has been plagued with problems, if you ask me. And I think it's part of the reason why DC has been having a lot of problems lately. It's like this whole DCU thing, where they're kind of like radically changing basic things about the characters that we've, come to know and love. It's just boosted with a lot of problems. Like, I'm just wondering, how long are they really going to go with this? With the world now knowing that Clark Kent is Superman, so there's no more of that duality anymore. Where are they going to go with that? I mean, that was such a huge part of what Superman was, right? Bruce Wayne, too. Bruce Wayne, Batman. I mean, those are like big things. So I'm just wondering what's going to be the reset if they do. Are they just going to pull the parallel universe card? Or is there going to be some kind of time travel thing? Who knows? I'm just wondering. Who knows? By the way, how about this team, baby? How about those Mets? You know it. All right, dude. Image Drifter, the penultimate issue. We're getting near the end. In the last issue, we had Abraham Pollux traveling to the dark side of the planet of, I forget what the name of this planet is, but he travels to the dark side of the planet to recover his spaceship. In this issue, we learn more about the mysterious man in the dark. He seems to have a connection with these creatures here, this large creature with a hulking backpack. that when someone dies, they pull that dead person down into the caverns. So we kind of learn more about their connection. And Abraham does indeed find his ship, but, you know, danger left and right. And I gotta say, the true star of this series is Nick Klein, who does all the artwork. He just does a tremendous job. I love the coloring. I'm a sucker for, you know, purples and fuchsias and fluorescent blues, and it just has such pop and such atmospheric character to it and flow. I mean, look at that guy's eyes, man. Look at that. I mean, just amazing stuff. I mean, every time I look at Drifter, I get more and more amazed by the artwork. It's just such a good book, and it's nearing its conclusion. So if you want to wait it out and just buy the trades, you know, go online. You could probably end up getting both trades for a grand total of like $15 and save yourself a lot of money. And the funny thing, too, is on the back of this book, the UPC codes, the person, you know, at the comic book shop, they always get fucked up by the UPC codes. They never can seem to scan it on the first try. It's just funny because it's like this when it's vertical, and they get all screwed up. It's pretty funny. And they've kind of done that throughout the series. All right. Sons of the Devil, number 5. This is the final story of the arc. This has been a very slow burning story about a survivor of a cult. He is a child of a cult. He's now an adult. And he's kind of trying to find out what happened to him. He's been going to therapy, an orphans support group. His therapy, his group leader, has involvement with this cult. Also, at group therapy, he ends up meeting his long-lost sister, which has been a very interesting twist and turn. This is written by Brian Bucoletto, most knowingly of Detective Comics fame. It's been a slow burn. You have this cult leader. They show a lot of flashbacks. This cult leader is impregnating women. His name is David. Think like David Koresh. Creepy guy. Has the one blue, the one red eye. He has been impregnating women, various women, to sacrifice to what we're led to believe is the devil himself, or whoever this man perceives to be as the devil. And one of the kids that he gives, you know, fathers, has the mark of the blue and the red eye. And I wanted to show you this panel. Yep, here we go. He kind of shows them. He looks in the mirror and he will see the devil. Pretty creepy stuff. And he promises to deliver him 90 plus 9. That's 99, folks. That's a lot of babies, man. That's a lot of babies. I wonder if that guy is paying child support or if he's a deadbeat dad. All right. Rasputin, number 9. This also is a penultimate issue, and I was going to stop buying this, but I got in too deep, folks. You guys have been hearing me bitch about this, and pretty soon you're going to be able to stop hearing me bitch about it, because it's going to end. This is the final arc. I didn't even know it. On the last page of this issue, unbeknownst to me, it said, "To be concluded." And I was like, fuck! Because I was going to ride this arc out, and then I was going to trade wait. Because I've just been, you know, I like the story, but as I've complained throughout this story, is that it is just devoid of dialogue. Okay, the artwork by colorist Ivan Palesia, who's tremendous, and Riley Rosmo, the artist, that tandem is just phenomenal. They were working briefly on the new Constantine reboot that just rebooted through DC. Rosimo is no longer on that title, but Palencia is. But these two together have created just such a wonderful, wonderful world of art. Notice that there's no dialogue on any of these pages. Oh, there's one dialogue box there. but very, very little dialogue. The dialogue is sparse, you know. Alex Grecian, disappointed, boo hiss. I think you're being lazy, bruh. Look at the artwork. I mean, I'm being as silent as the pages, my friends. Silent as the pages, because there's nothing going on. This story, it's about Rasputin. Yes, the Rasputin. It's just been very, very confusing. In the last couple issues, it's been alluded that Rasputin saved President Kennedy, John F. Kennedy. In this story, Rasputin has the power to heal. If you look closely on this, there's Rasputin there in the dark, and he's resurrecting that fallen person there. That's what happens. All this electricity comes, and he puts his hands on the person, and he can revive them. Last couple issues, he got outed by an investigative reporter, like a political reporter, and it alluded that he possibly saved John F. Kennedy, of all people. And it's time shifting between all these different times in the 60s, present day, where he is working on a political campaign right now. He actually saved a presidential candidate from death, this female candidate that got shot, and he ended up saving her. And then it flashes back, of course, to when he got killed. He was killed, or maybe he was killed, by a group of friends, and then resurrected again somehow. Rasputin has the power to resurrect, and he can be resurrected if one of the souls that he saved kills themselves. I don't know if I even got that right. It's very strange. It's very weird. It's very confusing. In this issue, we supposedly find out how he got out of, you know, the jam where his friends killed him, or did they kill him? We get into that whole story arc, and then we're introduced to this other character out of the blue. I had to write his name down. Prince Koshia Macron, who I showed you here. And he wants to marry this Ice King's daughter. Just very strange. It's all over the place. I have no freaking idea how the hell they're going to wrap this up in the next issue, because there are like loose story threads all over the freaking place with this book. I don't know how they're going to do it. I gotta say, the artwork, like I said, tremendous, top-notch, unbelievable. The story writing sucks, okay? I almost felt like they had to put this in here, you know, as a concession. So at the end of the story, they go into this article talking about presidential candidate assassination attempts. A whole little article about it. And then after that, you have, like, in the last 8 pages or 10 pages of the book are advertisements and a preview for another book. So it's just, I'm mad at myself, you know? I'm mad at myself that I allowed myself to stick with this book for so long, when on average, I could get through each issue in like 3 to 5 minutes. Because as much as I do love the artwork, I don't sit there and stare at it for, you know, minutes. I just don't. It's just not my style. I don't do that. I mean, again, it's beautiful stuff, unbelievable artwork, but it's just bullshit. You know, I'm paying $3.50 to get through something that takes me literally a couple minutes. And people bitch about the price of movies. Don't bitch about the price of movies, okay? At least for, you know, $12 to $15, you're getting a couple hours. I mean, at that rate, $3.50 per 5 minutes, let's put on the far end. Yeah, you do the math. So it's fucking crazy. I'm mad at myself. I'm mad. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry I'm being a bit of a downer this episode, but I don't know. Now, one of my favorite horror books is back. The conclusion, the third arc, the third miniseries of horror guru Paul Tobin and one of my other favorite artists, Juan Ferreira. So boy, oh boy, the artwork this week for me has either been on this side of the spectrum, I'm loving it, or I am freaking hating it. I love Juan Ferreira. The images that he gave us in the last Colder series, Colder the Bad Seed, with Swifter, or Swivel, the man who needed to plant fingers, the man who collected fingers. He was cutting off people's fingers to plant. We are introduced now to Nimble Jack. Or not introduced, rather, the return of Nimble Jack. And I know what everybody's going to say. He's probably just like a Joker ripoff. And yes, that does look like the new 52 Joker, doesn't it? It does, okay? I'll be the first to admit it. And he is kind of very similar to him in many ways. But give it a chance, folks. Give it a chance. It's just a freaky, freaky story. This story kind of shifts in between the Hunger world and the real world. As you can see, the panel switches very quickly. The crazy people see the Hunger world, the psychotic people. There are just weird things in here. Weird things that you're not going to see in any other comic. Such as someone unscrewing someone's head like a thermos and stuffing a pigeon inside. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you'll expect in here. You have Declan back with his girlfriend, Reese. Declan is kind of, becoming comatose to unreluctant hero. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I'm going at 36 minutes here. I'm running out of steam. But I'm just really happy that it's back. Paul Tobin and Juan Ferreira also worked recently on the Aliens, Fire and Stone, the Prometheus story arc. So you're going to see lots of cool creatures in here. Kind of reminds me of BPRD, some of the monsters there. I really do, check this out. I really enjoyed Colder the Bad Seed, the one previously before that. I think I am going to miss Swivel a little bit. He was a pretty classic enemy, but I'm looking forward to, learning more about Nimble Jack and to see how that goes and to see if he's just not a complete Joker ripoff. There he is, all Exorcist 3 style, chilling up on the ceiling. So lots of cool stuff. I just love the facial expressions that Juan Ferreira draws. He's just so good. I really love Juan Ferreira, man. Good artist this week, or just complete shit. No in between. It was just a weird week. Let me go with the cover of the month. And as bad as I think that this issue was, I still am going with this as the cover of the week. Because that's what it should be between those two. No deception, a love, a bond. Make them the first couple of the DC Universe, people. Just do it. All right, and let me know what you guys got. Sorry I ran so long, but there was a lot to talk about this week. And let me know in the comment section below what you guys got. As always, peace. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you're liking. Let me know what you're disliking. And I'm out. Have a good night.